What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Submarine subharmonics generator to instantly add powerful, natural subs to a kick drum, a bass line, and 2 drum loops. So check this out. We're going to go from this to this. Now, Submarine is super easy to use, and the interface is very intuitive. Up here are the sub generators. They create subharmonics that are -1 octave and -2 octaves below the frequency range that you selected. By default, both generators are on when you open Submarine. Rotate these knobs to change their level and get a good balance. These switches above each generator turn them off and on. Now, using 2 generators isn't necessarily more effective than using only one. Turn each generator on or off, listen to the difference, and find the setting that best complements your source. Over on the left is your input meter. Now make sure you leave some headroom for processing. You don't want to overload the input with the sound that's coming from your DAW. Adding subfrequencies is likely going to add some energy to the output, so you can just adjust the output gain to set the signal at an acceptable level and avoid any clipping. Now over here you have the mix knob, where you can control the output mix between the dry input signal and the wet sub signal. All right, now down here, you've got the frequency range selector. It determines which frequencies of the input signal that'll be used for the sub generators to create that sub action. Just use these pointers to select the frequency range you'd like to focus on. This is most easily done by first dialing up the mix knob to 100% wet. That way, you'll hear only the subs you're generating. Now, it's important to accurately define the mid and max settings. If your max is set too low, then the fundamental is going to be outside the range and it won't be generating any subs. If the max is set too high, then the range is going to add unwanted higher harmonic information, which can result in incoherent, less focused subs. Lower min settings send more low frequencies to the sub generators. Higher min settings effectively limit the frequency of the generated sub. All right, and finally, we've got the effects section. Now the drive adds a small amount of harmonic distortion to the sub signal. These even harmonics help the generated subs stick to the original sound. Basically, the more drive, the more dynamic the subs sound. Start at the default setting of 0 and slowly increase the drive until you hear the subs get a little warmer and more glued to the other elements in your mix. I recommend you set the sub generators first before you adjust the drive, because the drive is only going to affect the generated sub signal. Now, the dynamics knob applies compression to the generated subs. It can control how short or how thumpy and sustained the subs feel. The dynamics control affects only the generated subs and not the original signal. This right here lets you select between mono and stereo subs. This button is visible only when you use the plugin on a stereo track. The Submarine is powered by Wave's innovative organic resynthesis engine. In a nutshell, organic resynthesis is a process that strips the signal down to its core elements, processes them individually, and then reconstructs the signal to create new subfrequencies that retain the pitch and timing of the source you fed into it. The result is deep, subharmonic content that's clean, musical, and naturally blends to your source. Now check out this kick. I like the timbre, I like how it sounds, but I want to give it a little more oomph. Now watch the analyzer. You can see this area below 60 Hertz represents our subs. That's the area we want to fill with powerful, clear subs. If I simply engage Submarine, you can immediately hear all these subharmonics we just added. So now, let's use some of the plugin parameters to shape our subs with some precision. First, take the mix to completely wet so that you only hear the subharmonics we're generating and not the source. Now listen carefully and pay attention to the analyzer. I'm going to tweak the 2 sub generators, and you'll be able to hear and see what we're adding. So to shape these subs with precision, just set the frequency range selector so it targets only the information you want to enhance. Now you can bring the mix knob back to blend in the subs we generated with the source. Now you can add some drive and compression to further color your subs and control their dynamics. Now be careful not to push them too hard so your signal doesn't overload the output. All right, now even if you're using a drum loop, you can still focus only on the low end and add powerful subs that'll make it sound like it's part of the original loop. I'll engage Submarine, and you can see all those subharmonics we just added. Let's go 100% wet. Now listen carefully and pay attention to the analyzer. I'll tweak the 2 sub generators. Let's set the frequency range selector. I'll bring the mix knob back in. You can add some drive and compression. And if I turn it off, you hear and you see the difference. So I'll engage Submarine, and you can see all those subharmonics we just added. Now let's get a little more precise with it. Let's go 100% wet to hear the subharmonics we're generating. Now listen carefully and pay attention to the analyzer. I'm going to tweak these 2 sub generators to shape these subs with that high precision. Now we're going to set the frequency range selector so that it targets only the information we want to enhance. Now I'll bring the mix knob back in to blend the subs we generated with the source. You can add some drive and compression to add character and control the dynamics of your newly created subs. And if I turn it off, you hear and you see the difference right away. All right, last thing, guys, let's process a bass line. I'll engage Submarine, and you can see all these harmonics we added here. Let's shape our subs with more precision. So remember, we're going to go 100% wet first to hear what we're generating. Listen carefully and pay attention to the analyzer. All right, I'll tweak the 2 sub generators. Let's set the frequency range selector so it targets only what we want to enhance. I'll bring the mix knob back to blend the subs we've generated with the source, and I'll just add a tiny bit of drive and compression. Now, if I turn the plugin off, the difference is like night and day. There you go, guys. A super fast and easy way to add deeper, cleaner subs to your instruments and to get your productions to really bump on large sound systems with subwoofers. Now make sure you head over to waves.com/submarine to learn more. If you have any questions, hit us up in the comments below and make sure you smash that subscribe button for the latest tips, tricks, and more from Waves Audio. And until next time, guys, thank you for watching.